What is up, Gorilla Nation, and welcome back to another Division 2 vendor reset. It is currently June the 30th. We'll start here first in Washington, D.C., here at the base of operations. Then we'll move to the DZs, then the settlements, and then on to New York to wrap it up. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe and a like button. Yes, I'm officially back. And as my first comment on my first video by coming back from a month and a half, the comment was, glad you're not dead. Yes, I'm glad I'm not dead too. But anyways, let's hop into this vendor reset. Alright, starting out first, the Invisible Hand. Perfect Allegro, 12% rate of fire. You can swap out reload speed or max out health damage or assault rifle damage. Next we have a PP. Those of you out there, it's an underwhelming gun. It needs to, I think, needs to be a little bit, the damage needs to be buffed because of the low RPM. But anyways, moving on. We're not going to read every single one. I'll just scroll through them. We have Companion on an Alps backpack, skill tier, crit damage, crit chance. And we have a Heliguard chest piece with reassigned. Crit hit damage mod 10.3%. Drone mod 4.2% damage. Next we have a turret mod, extra mortar ammo, and then finally wrapping it up, 4.2% skill haste. Alright, let's move on over to the clan vendor. Let me know in the comments section below if you're enjoying the update, the new gear, the new weapons. Excuse me, had a little hiccup there. Alright, the level 30 clan vendor, we have the Pyromaniac. It has a 9.5% crit chance, a half percent crit chance off the max 9% assault rifle damage. Of course, you want to max that out over the health damage. So if you don't have a Pyromaniac or a good M4, this one is a pretty decent one, especially if you're using like the canister to set people on fire, or a flame turret, the incinerator, or anything that, you know, causes them to burn. Then, you know, if you are tired of farming and RNG sucks, then this is not half bad. But moving on, we have Negotiator's Dilemma, 12.7 weapon damage, 7.5 skill damage. Aces and eights, maxed weapon damage on it. It's on a holster, and also it already has critical hit damage on it. So this is definitely a one to pick up if you are in the marksman rifle category and want to go with like a perfect headhunter build and looking for a holster. So that way you can add the two pieces of aces and eights to get to 15% marksman rifle damage. Then this is definitely a holster for you to pick up. The Underwhelming Striker gear set that hardly anybody uses, along with Tip of the Spear. It has 9% weapon damage without damage to armor on the attributes with Breadbasket and ACS 12. Then we have a Walker Harris and Company, 12.3 weapon damage, weapon handling, and explosive resistance. That's crap. An Araldi Holdings backpack with weapon damage, repair skills, critical hit damage, and composure. If you need a critical hit damage attribute roll on a backpack, this is maxed out at 12% critical hit damage. Next we have a Sausage Shotgun with Eyeless, an Alps Summit holster with health, crit chance, and skill tier. Araldi Holdings gloves with weapon damage, almost maxed out repair skills at 19.4. The max on it is 20%. 9.8% critical hit damage is the second attribute. And we have a blind death resistance mod at 8.9%, a chem mod 4.3% damage, a shield mod with 4.5% active regen, and finally wrapping up a pulse mod that has 6.8% cone size. Alright, let's move on over to DZ East, and we'll see you guys and gals in just a moment. Alright, we've reached DZ East. Let's check out and see what this vendor has. Alright, they have the Commando with underwhelming stacks, but it is perfectly naked, though, if you know what I mean. I mean perfectly naked. What is perfectly naked? I mean, naked is just, you know, plain naked, right? It's a butt naked. Alright, classic M44 carbine with first blood, marksman rifle damage, headshot damage, magazine size. That's underwhelming. Next we have a black market a much more opportune attribute that'll best suit your build other than optimal range, and I believe all the other attributes that you can actually put in there will be better than optimal range. Next we have Negotiator's Dilemma Mask with 11% weapon damage and 7.4 skill damage. Hardwired holster with skill tier and weapon handling. Araldi Mask, 12.2 weapon damage, weapon handling, armor regen. Then we have a Finish Group holster, weapon damage, crit damage, skill haste, utility mod with 16.2 repair skills. And it was just a fly that would just land on my forehead, so yes, I just smacked myself, if you want to know what that sound was. A chem mod, 5.8% skill haste, And then we have a Hive mod with 4% range, Pulse mod with 5% skill haste, and the Trap mod with 5.8% duration. Alright, moving on to DZ South. Alright, we've arrived at DZ South, and I'm busted in over here like... So let's check out the vendor and see what she has. Another invisible hand, perfect Allegro. This one has 9% damage to targets out of cover, 13.5 health damage, and then assault rifle damage. But I believe the one in the clan vendor is better. An MP7 with measured. The Honey Badger, assault rifle damage, and 2 more underwhelming stats. Military M9 with Ranger. Ongoing Directive Backpack with 9.8 weapon damage and 7.1% explosive resistance. A Negotiator's Dilemma chest piece, 11.3 weapon damage, 8.6% stats effects. 511 backpack with Unstoppable Force, max armor roll. R&K chest piece with Efficient, skill tier, skill damage, and health. An offensive mod with 4.4 crit chance. Drone mod plus 2 extra bombs for the Bombardier drone. Then we have a turret mod with 5.8% skill haste. And then a sticky launcher mod for the sticky bomb with 4.9 blast radius. Alright, on to DZ West. Alright, we've arrived here in DZ West to wrap up the Dark Zone vendors. This one has the backup boomstick with max shotgun damage at 16%, 8% damage to armor, and then 8% damage to targets out of cover with Vindictive. Not a bad sidearm, not too shabby. Next we have a sausage, 12k, mediocre stats with Optimist, and with these stats, it just makes you want to wonder why it's even in here and make you go. Next we have an MDR with fast hands, future initiative gloves with skill tier and armor regen. I'm currently actually working on a healer build utilizing the 2 pieces of this, and then actually 3 pieces. And it's actually working out really well, so stay tuned for that build video. But next, moving on, aces and 8s. Crap weapon damage stat, but at least it has 9.8% status effects on it, 0.2% off its max. Suckle off gloves with 10.4 weapon damage, 7.5 headshot damage, and skill damage. Badger tough and knee pads with armor, skill haste, armor regen. A defensive mod, 8.3 blind death resistance. Pokey mod with +1 cluster mines. Shield mod with deflector damage at 4.1%. Next we have an alignment valve with 6% skill haste, and then a decoy mod at 6% duration. Alright, on to the settlement, starting first with the theater over here, and then we'll move on to New York. Alright, we've reached the theater settlement. This vendor has a boomstick. Max damage to armor, 8% shotgun damage. Next we have a M1A with Future Perfect. This is actually one of the new talents, and this is not a bad M1A if you're just looking to utilize a Future Perfect until you can find a better classic M1A with that talent on it. At least it already has the 15% rifle damage on it, which is, I'm going to pick it up. And then you can change out optimal range, especially if you're not a crit build. You can just switch out the attributes, but at least you can utilize the new talent Future Perfect. Moving on though, Weapon wear gloves with skill damage, critical hit chance, and skill tier. Walker Harris knee pads, weapon damage, hazard protection, critical hit damage, a defensive mod, 8.5% shock resistance, a Poke mod with 4.1% damage, a shield mod, 4% damage bonus per enemy. That's the cone that comes out the back. And then we have a microfiber resin with +1 max targets for you blinders out there, and a decoy mod with 8% duration. Alright, on to the last settlement before we go to New York. We'll see you in a moment. Alright, SHD agent coming through, making sure everybody's using social distancing. Excuse me, sir, y'all need to separate a little bit. And where is y'all's mask? Y'all need to hurry up and run over to the base operation and grab your mask and practice more social distancing. Come on, guys, you know the rules. Let's help keep everyone safe. Alright, moving on to the vendor. The Elkham's Long Stick, or Ecums, with Perfect Ranger. Then it has 12 marksman rifle damage, 83 headshot damage with a magazine size. Hunting M44. Marksman rifle damage, 93 headshot damage, 6.5% critical hit chance with eyeless. Black Market M60E6 with ignited, 11% LMG damage, 11% damage to targets out of cover, and 4% damage to armor. Not too bad. You can up the damage to armor and it will be pretty decent, especially if you're using any kind of flame build, kind of paired with that Pyromaniac for all the newbies out there that's just come along into the Division 2. Next, we have an Araldi Holdings mask with 10% max skill damage on there. So if you're looking for this particular role to put in your recal library or just utilize in a particular build, like a stats effect build, then it has the max skill damage on it. Or if you're going, I should say, instead of stats effects, also with any kind of explosive build as well. Douglas and Harding's holster, weapon damage, explosive resistance, and another 8.6% stats effects. Utility mod with 8.3 skill duration. Then we have a chem mod with 6.5% burn strength for the canister to set people aflame. 4% healing on a hive mod. Then we have the trap mod at 6.1% shock radius. Alright guys, I'll be back here in 15 to 20 minutes. I want to see more social distancing, but we're on to New York. Alright, we've arrived in New York. There's no sense or reason to go over to the level 30 clan vendor here in New York because they have the same items as DC. So starting first here with this vendor, has the F2000 with max damage to armor on an assault rifle. You can use it as a roll, or if you just want to try out the F2000, then you can max out the assault rifle damage on it and damage to armor, and it's not too shabby. Model 700 with max marksman rifle damage, also a good roll with future perfect, whether you need the talent for a marksman rifle or just the attribute core roll at the max weapon damage. Here is the Model 700. Marine Super 90 with shotgun damage, damage to armor, and crappier stats as the third one. A D50 with Ranger, Providence Defense chest piece with tamper-proof weapon damage, skill haste. Sokolov gloves with weapon damage, crappy stats, and more crappy stats. China Light Industries with +1 skill tier and 2 crappy attributes. An offensive mod with 4.4% critical hit chance. A defensive mod 8.5% bleed resistance. Turret mod with 5.9% duration. Pulse mod 8.7% radius. And then a decoy mod at 6% health. Alright, let's go on over to the final vendor of this vendor reset. Appreciate you all tuning in. Be sure to ground and pound that like and subscribe button. I am so glad to be back. What's up, my mediocre stats and sadist, military L86 LSW, mediocre stats with Optimus and M1A CQB. With crappy stats, but it has NSYNC if you're just looking for the talent and not the actual boy band. Because if you're looking for the boy band, then you better get out of here and go bye, bye, bye. Anyways, yeah, that was super cringy. Anyways, X45 Tactical with preparation and 2 crappy stats. Weibenware chest piece with max explosive resistance if you're looking for that just to put in your library. Mad Bomber skill tier status effects. A Walker Harris knee pads with horrendous weapon damage on there at 5%, but at least it has maxed out weapon handling, so I guess that's one thing you can tell your friends, hey, I have the new Walker knee pads and I have maxed out weapon handling. Said no one ever. Raleigh Holdings holster with 12.2 weapon damage, health, and then of course armor regen. Utility mod with 10.3% skill haste. Defensive mod 16.5% incoming repairs. And then we have a Poke mod with 4.8% skill haste, Hive mod 7.7% health, and then wrap it up a 5.7% shock radius on a trap mod. That's going to wrap it up for this vendor reset. I am so happy to be back. So stay tuned also for another vendor reset as we go to check out what the black market dealer Mendoza has in store for us later on tonight. So be sure to check out that video. She should reset around 4 a.m. or so, right around that time. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you fudging later.